This video is about 5 common amateur mistakes. Stay tuned. Number 1, fighters, beginners drop their hands. I don't mean just having their hands, dropping their hands down like this when they're fighting. I mean they throw their combinations, they fire a jab or cross, and then they drop their hands down before they bring it back. So they do a sort of sweeping motion. So boom, back in, boom, back in, boom, back in. They drop their hands down. Forget to put them up by the chin. I've done a couple of videos about how to fire a jab cross, and I was talking about mistakes, and that's one thing I left out in that video. So I was quite annoyed about that. So yeah, so it's punching out and dropping their hand before they come back in. Number 2, kind of similar to number 1 in not necessarily as such dropping their hands, but one of my trainers used to call it admiring your own work. They'd come in, they'd go bang, 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 bang for a brilliant combination, and then they'd stand in front of their opponent and forget to retreat and get back out. So like I said, they call it admiring their work. So they come in, they crack and hit them with a big overhand right, and they think, wow, what a beautiful punch. But then they stand in and they're not getting out and moving around. Remember, if once you finish your combination, unless you've hurt your opponent or you've rocked him, they're going to want to fight back straight away. So you need to remember to get out and round. Right. Number 3, gassing yourself out too quick. A lot of fighters find it hard to pace themselves in a fight, especially beginners. They go in there, they'll be all guns blazing, and they'll end up tiring themselves out in the first round, and then if the fighters weather the storm, they'll come back into the second round. Now, this ain't just beginners, this work, like you even see pro fighters do it now and again. So it's really important to make sure you try and pace yourself. Don't get me wrong, if you've got your opponent rocked and you go in and try and finish him, go for the kill, try and finish him, and you don't finish him, you are going to gas yourself out, and that's not necessarily a mistake because you've tried to finish them. I'm talking about when they go in and they ain't even got their opponent rocked, and they're just going for it, and they're going and going and going, and they're going too quick, and then they end up gassing themselves out. Right. Number 4. Again, kind of leads on to number 3, but in the opposite, is they don't fire the trigger enough. They're too hesitant. Some fighters will come in and they'll be too hesitant to throw the trigger, to go for the strike or commit to the strike. If you're throwing a big strike, especially like, say, a roundhouse kick, what takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of momentum, you've got to throw the leg round. I don't mean throwing as fake, I mean someone throwing it and then not committing to it because they don't think they're going to land it. If you commit to a punch or kick, more likely you're going to end up landing it. And as well, you're not going to win fights if you're not striking. If you're just blocking and moving, you've got to be aggressive as well. Number 5, kind of leads on to what we were talking about back earlier, about gassing yourself out, but it's another thing amateurs tend to do, what will eventually gas you out and tire you out, and that's holding your breath. That's why you learn, when you throw a punch, you learn to exhale out, which I'm going to make another video about the importance of doing that. But anyway, not just that, it's when they hold their breath. They go in and they hold their breath and they tense up, and then before their punches, and then before they know it, they've gassed themselves out. Even if they're doing it all beautiful, even if they're coming in, they're throwing their jab, crossing that out, they're moving around, they're doing everything right. But if you're holding your breath, you're going to interrupt your breathing pattern, what's going to end up gassing you out quicker. So you've got to remember to make sure to get your breathing in. So there's 5 things, amateur things I can think of off the top of my head to try and work on. Work on yourself, help your friends work on them. If you've got training partners, try and look out for them. Or if you're a coach, obviously I don't need to teach you to suck eggs, but make sure you're looking out for these things for amateur fighters and beginners. And also pros sometimes end up slipping back into amateur mistakes if they've had a little bit of time off and stuff like that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.